This is TWiT.
We talked about Google Duplex in the past and its freakishly human AI assistant, which had actually stirred the market back in May, where the company actually tricked a bunch of employees and organizations around appointments and reservations. So this created quite a bit of a snowball effect in the market and debates on ethics and on whether Google is trying to trick people, which is essentially is approaching the dark areas of AI. So some of the questions that were out there around ethics: what are the ethics of making people think that they're talking to a real person? Do services like Duplex need permission from the person on the other end before recording the call? And just how high of a tolerance do people have to have for something they could be used for creepy, even criminal pursuits in different hands? Well, Google's trying to address these problems. Duplex is now called an automated booking service, and it's also honoring states' laws around recording. Plus, if businesses are uncomfortable with the concept, they can actually opt out from receiving Duplex calls. Scott Huffman, the VP of Engineering of Google Assistant, also admitted that the demo given at Google I/O was a bit too polished, and they decided to instead target real-world scenarios like interacting with restaurants and hair salons. Even though the caller is informed this is an automated assistant, it still actually peppers in different conversation and verbal tics to help conversations move along like naturally, just like or sure. If a conversation goes off the rails, again, a human operator at Google's call centers can take over. During their recent demo, the Duplex actually called up a local business, was starting with, "Hi, I'm Google's automated booking service, so I'll record the call. Can I book that table for Saturday?" So at a point, they were also able to say, "Hey, I think I got confused. Hold on, let me get an operator." And 4 out of the 5 calls stayed fully automated, and only 1 had to be turned over to humans. Okay, Cheebert, I want to get your thoughts on this, because we talked about this Google Duplex service in the past, but it really kind of brings in is Google making the right changes here? Is it something they need to do they need to do more here, or is it, they've done enough?
For sure, dude. I'm a Google Duplex automated attendant. Anyway, yeah, they're going in the right direction. We all want Jarvis. Ever since we heard Mr. Bettany talking, doing the role of Jarvis on Iron Man, everybody says we want it. Well, we need to kind of weigh the odds. Do we want it? Do we not want it? So some of the things we need to keep in mind is, you mentioned the recording. Google, in order to analyze this, they're recording your voice, and then it goes to a back-end system and says, "Hey, we gotta now analyze it." But technically, conversations can only be recorded legally in some states if both parties agree. So that's why they're starting off the conversation with that. There are a lot of states, Hawaii is included, where it's only a single party. Only one side has to agree to the recording. So this is going to be a real interesting. I am actually kind of waiting for the ACLU to jump in, which is going to make Google's life really difficult, and it's going to slow down the path to Jarvis. But the reality is with, we're going to have to balance a lot of this stuff. Google's Duplex, now the automated attendant system, could potentially save businesses a lot of money. And having the having that ability to drop it in so that you don't have to pay a receptionist, or better yet, say it's a fairly large organization and you don't have to pay a bank of receptionists. So maybe you have just 2 or 3 or whatever to handle a large number of calls, and only the calls that really go off the rail, or if the AI assistant weirds someone else out. So I think there's going to be a lot of things. I think it's really going to help places. I think it's going to help education a lot. Obviously, I've got a big education bent, but I don't hardly know of any university that still has a full-time set of operators, and having a AI to be able to go and help redirect things could actually be a very big health and safety issue in the long run. So I say, yeah, let's move forward. Let's be careful, but let's move forward.
Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think there are organizations starting out there that need this kind of system to kind of assist them, because, paying customer service agents, training them to be, human and down to earth and, forthcoming, it's tough to do. So I think providing systems like this could be interesting to help start that. But the question also relies, will this system learn? So will it start to kind of grow and expand itself so it learns more about colloquialisms and idioms and all of this types of things so that this way it can sound even more human and get more kind of ingrained. So then you really don't know at this point. Now, again, they have this moniker in the beginning where they say, hey, this is a Google Assistant. We're not a real person, but in the same sense, I can't imagine that this is going to be the only application for this. I mean, obviously they're saying they're only targeting restaurants and reservations and things like appointments for hair salons and stuff. But I can't imagine that being the only application here. I think, we can think of customer service type organizations where, you call in and you want to feel like you're talking to somebody real rather than getting that automated voice menu system. Plus, when you get into actual customer service issues, again, small organizations, they can't pay big companies to do sometimes, their own people, let alone big companies do customer service. So this might also help them as well. I mean, what do you think, Cheebert? Is this something that we're going to see, even though Google kind of freaked people out in the beginning here? You think they're going to start applying it to different parts of the market, like you said, even in the EDU?
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing. I think Google needs to obviously hit the low-hanging fruit, but I think one of the low-hanging fruits that they also need to hit is automated attendance on telephone systems. That is, a large cost item for a lot of corporations, insurance, banking, education, you name it. People that want to have information. The web is not the do-all end-all for a lot of the older generation, but you have to balance privacy and customer service. And I think as long as you're upfront about it and provide a way to opt out, I think Google will avoid having the ACL sharpen their knives in their direction. So I think, yes, I can't wait. I would love to get my hands on the API because there's a few things that I would love to be able to use it for science. People want to know what's happening with the Vogue plume from Kilauea. And there are some people that only deal with telephones. And our departments keep getting these phone calls. I'd love to be able to automate things like that. And I'm sure the National Weather Service would love to automate some things. So I think such an API that will work instead of the really clumsy things that we started playing with, a few years ago, having something as intelligent and as smooth as Google AI could go a long way towards solving a lot of problems, especially for people that are handicapped or something like that.
So we have seen, I think in China there was the AI that actually did the newscast. Do you think that we should be worried about this type of technology actually taking away jobs now, that maybe it could get better at learning things and dealing with things? Obviously, people do some specific jobs, like you were saying, customer service, answering questions. This could take away from jobs, right?
Yeah, but then again, there are some, there's some things that humans still do better. But I look at it as, okay, a balance. There's going to be some jobs where, I'm sorry, you're going to have to retrain. You're going to have to think of other things. It's a balancing act. As far as, that newscaster, look at it a slightly different way. Wouldn't it be great to be able to have, say, once an hour, or once every half hour, once every 15-minute news updates, all through the night, no matter what time zone you're in? Wouldn't that be cool? And
absolutely,
I'm sorry, newscasters aren't cheap. Programmers aren't cheap. Yeah, ZipDog. Yeah, he's on the phone. So life is good. There are many things, and I don't know about you, but when I first saw Iron Man talking to Jarvis, Tony Stark. I wanted one. I really do.
Me too.
I now have 6 Amazon Echoes because
You're surrounded.
Really like. Yeah, I actually have one in my car, and it actually made my longer drives much safer because I'm not fussing around changing my music or playlist. But yeah, I love it. I love being able to shift things around. I love being able to ask questions of it while I'm driving. I love to be able to be half awake in the morning, just barely, and I hear something happening at the front door, and I can ask my Amazon Echo to display the front door cam from my Ring doorbell, which is also a TWiT sponsor, sorry. Lots of sponsor examples. But yeah, having an AI, even something as simple as the Amazon Echo, has changed my life. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Google AI can really change other services that, might make the drive-in safer, might make it easier for someone that might have, say, cerebral palsy. There's a lot of things it can do really well, and I think we just have to make sure we manage the balance between good and bad and be upfront about the use of the AI.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think even Specs in the chat room says, "Hey, I'd love this for my own phone system." I would love it too. Like being able to have somebody call me, I don't know the number. Hey, let the assistant pick up. Let it sound like a normal human being. Make it act like it's me, and get the message, get the information, and then let me know give me some kind of rating as, hey, was this a cold call? Was it a sales call? Was it a real thing? Was it let me know. Give me some more information rather than just the transcript. That would be interesting too. I think there's going to be some really good applications here.